Okay, so for this video, I'm outside of Chardock, and I've got a level 47 Bard and a level 50 Necro. And the idea behind this video is just to show you how fast a Bard and Necro combination is. So in front of each one of these entrances that basically lead you into Chardock, there's two mobs that spawn. And because I'm using my Bard, I've already got all these split. I use Kellen's Lugubrious Lament to split each mob. And then I send my Necro pet into the fight. Once my Bard has the mob slowed, once he's got him snared up, then I cast Fear on my Necro, and basically from there it's just waiting for the mob to die. So my Bard is doing pretty much all the heavy lifting in this group. He's got Cella's Consonant Chain as his snare spell. Then it goes to Tuyin's Chant of Disease, Tuyin's Chant of Frost, Tuyin's Chant of Flame, and Fufil's Curtailing Chant, I believe is what it's called. When you add up all those dots, it totals up to 183 damage per tick. And it's all free. Bard songs are, except for charge spells and like the occasional nuke, they're all free. So 180 dot damage per tick is a lot at this level. It's actually a lot, period. But the fact that it's free just is so awesome. Like my Necro, I'm not even casting. All I'm casting is Fear. I don't have to snare. I don't really need to add any dot damage at all. These are our low blues. I want to make that point clear. These are low blues. But the pull rate is so fast and it's so easy. These mobs out here drop mainly plat spell words, and the ones that spawn inside, which I'm going to get to here in a minute, the ones that spawn inside actually drop really high value gems. So the loot's good, and also, and this is P2002, so the Sarnarch Knights have this club that procs stun, and they carry them so often, which I suspect is different on P99, that my Necro and my Bard are loaded with these things. So every time I start this group, I automatically put those two clubs on my Necro pet, and he's constantly proccing stun. So it makes it even more effective when you're fighting a caster, or really any mob, especially when once they start running, when you fear kiting them, they don't tend to get very far. And especially when you're fighting like these shaman mobs, it comes in handy because they're constantly stunning them. So like here, I'm using Kellen's to split the pool. I've also got Kristen's Pixie Strike as a mez in case they happen to fear into a mob that and cause trouble. I can always mez one or two, depending on how hairy it gets. But generally, once you got it all split, there's no problem here. So basically, what's different about this versus, let's say, P99 is it's, for one, I'm boxing, and the whole bit that facilitates the boxing for me is the melody command. So basically, at some point, I guess during the Luckland expansion, Sony put in a macro called /melody. You type /melody into the macro button, and then you just type the number of corresponding to your spell bar to the songs that you want to play. So like in this case, I type /melody and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's just going to keep recycling through this whole macro. So it starts at cellos and it works all the way to Fufils. And as long as you don't miss a note, it's just going to keep playing over and over until the target is dead. I also have a regen melody line that I use, which is a combination of Heal Song and Mana Song. And when I mend those into spell slot 5 and 6, I can just play mana and health regen on a loop, and it just keeps repeating and repeating. And as long as I don't miss a note, I can sit there and really charge up my Necro's life and mana really quick if I choose to, or if I needed to use Lich. It's also handy if you have Shaman in the group, You can crank out, you know, mana and health regen all free. It's so easy to manage. It's great. Um, and this group really, it's there's no downtime because the dot damage is so high. And yes, these are a little bit on the low blue side. There's some light blues in here, but for the most part, they are dark, legit blue, and there's no downtime at all. Period. And the pull rate is outstanding. And a lot of the reason why the pull rate is so quick and so easy is because the bard can split pull. When you have lull, it's hugely critical because once you get indoors into dungeons, you absolutely have to have it. Whether you're tank fighting, fear kiting, whatever, however you choose to do dungeons, you are going to have to split your pools. Now, I did level a paladin all the way to level 50, and all because of the paladin's low line of spells. And the bard is actually worlds better for this because a bard can use their first lull spell. I think you get it at level 7 or 8, 9, sometime around there, and it will keep working all the way up. So where on the paladin, I got to a point in the 40s where none of his lull spells could hit mobs high enough level for me to get experience. So that kind of created a problem when it came to pulling. But I also found when I was playing my paladin, I was using a triple box setup where I had a shaman off to the side who was slowing. That was his whole job, really was to slow. But then he wound up having to do a lot of healing because my paladin was in there tanking and taking a lot of damage even though the mobs were slowed. So I was like, what can my paladin do if he's in there tanking, or if he doesn't tank? Let's just say I go, okay, I'm going to back him off to the side. What good can he really do if he can't get in there in the melee range and do damage? And it definitely created a problem because I really planned on having my paladin tanking all the way to 60. So I looked at the bard again, and you don't picture bards as being a tanky kind of class, but you don't. When you have a slower in a dungeon, which is not what I'm doing here, but I'm just kind of explaining my route to getting to this point. When you have somebody they're taking a lot of damage, and you need that split capability. Well, there's so few classes that have lull. You got enchanters, clerics, paladins, and as far as I know, that's about it. Rangers obviously get harmony, which works only on outdoor zones, so that's a huge limitation that wasn't good enough. So I finally just went back to the bard, and I didn't know this, but between level 40 and 50, bards get a whole ton of dots. I never knew about this. So what's great about this is I can hit melody and I can stack so many dots. Like I said, 183 points per tick of dot damage, all free, no medding required, and he doesn't have to get into melee range. So when you're fear kiting, instead of having to do the tedious bit where you follow the mob along, like I did a video of a necro ranger. Well, my ranger had to follow along, stay in melee range, and that can be kind of mind numbing after a while. Well, when you're playing a bard, your songs obviously have a range, and these dot songs, have a pretty good range to them. So I don't have to sit there and follow the mob like right next to it and stay in melee range. I can basically let it get pretty far away. Basically, as long as he's in spell range, I'm fine. And I can basically take my hands off the keyboard, let melody run, and watch those dots stack up. But, let's just say you're playing on, I don't know, P99, and you want to do the same type of combo. Yes, you're not going to have melody, but still, if you're, obviously you can't two-box, so you're only playing the bard. All it is a matter of cycling your songs. And honestly, the necro could kick in more here. I mean, I could slow as well, or snare. I could snare. It could take a little bit of twisting heat off of the bard, but just for the purpose of this group, because I've got melody, I'm like, why spend mana on darkness when my bard can snare too? So snare, dots, fear kiting, and what's great is this. I've got the level 49 pet going here, and I would say he's going to be able to hold up reasonably well as a tank not kiting, when I get my shaman involved. So if I decide to triple box inside a Chardock here, I'm pretty sure the pet is going to be strong enough, have enough hit points and regen to tank somewhat efficiently if the mobs are slowed. But for the purposes of this outside group, and honestly, you can fear kite all the way to 60. I just want to settle this right now because somebody else on the previous video commented, "Oh, you can't fear kite forever." Yes, you can actually. You can fear kite all the way to 60, and Farm A8 is fear kiting as well. It's generally the limitation on fear kiting is the simple fact that splitting can be a major issue, and you don't want to fear kite mobs where they're going to path into another group of mobs. But when you can split pools, that changes the dynamic entirely. And yes, necros can feign pool and split, but when it comes to casters, it's really not going to work very well. So I'm like, you know what, I'm boxing, so I might as well just use a bard. And as you can see, I mean, casters are usually a major issue. Like this guy is a shaman. He can root, which is horrible. He can slow, which is horrible. Like if my pet gets slowed, it's a little more difficult. Not much more difficult, but it isn't good. I mean, it just basically shuts down their melee really hardcore. But like at this point, I don't even have pet haste going. I'm just letting it roll because I'm towards the end of the spawn cycle. But yeah, that was the point of this. I just want to show how fast Bard+Necro can kill at a high level. I mean, we're at 50 right now, so this is definitely, a lot of people ask what good combos are. Here's a good combo. Thanks for watching.